Hello, welcome to another Seeds of Flourishing video. So, in today's episode, I thought it would be interesting to go through 5 different types of meditation that I have practiced over the years. I'm not going to go into each one's individual process or a practice. Some of these types I have covered in various podcasts and videos and have gone through various exercises that you can do which would fall under one of these 5 banners. And I would say out of the 5, there's obviously some that I've covered more than others, and some of them not really at all in a podcast, because of various practical reasons in doing that. But what I thought would be nice is if I provide to you, the viewer, some source materials so you can actually go through and think about developing your own meditation practices based around these 5 differing types. And I suppose you could say with a couple of them, there are similarities to one another. So anyway, these are the 5 that I've picked. So the first one is probably the one that I have practiced the most over the years. And as I go through the others, you'll probably see where there is a good deal of crossover with some of these other techniques. But this one is mindfulness of breathing. So that's just simply paying attention to the breath. Now, of course, there's a number of different variations you can do with this, because of course you can pay attention to different points of the breath. Like, where you feel it in your nose, or in your chest, or in your stomach. And also slightly modify to other points as well. A number of these articles will also have information about demonstrated benefits, which is also of interest. So the first one is mindfulness of breathing. Next up, we have body scan techniques. Now, when I was first introduced to body scanning as a form of relaxation, I thought it was just one of those techniques that had been developed fairly contemporaneously. But what I wasn't really aware of until recently is how it's possible to map body scan techniques back to practices of yoga nidra or yogic sleep. And so this is another interesting meditation area to look at, or relaxation area to look at, and that is this whole practice of scanning the body. Again, you can practice this in various ways. A third type of technique, and this is one that I've only really started to use recently, which is walking meditation. And I suppose part of that is a bit of a misunderstanding I had about it. I always used to think incorrectly that it had to be done slow, and it was usually done between long periods of sitting meditation. And while that is true in some instances, what I wasn't aware of is you can actually do it as a practice in its own right when you're walking regularly. because part of the idea is to synchronize your steps with your breaths. And also what I hadn't realized is I was under the impression that one step was one breath. So that's why I thought it was always done very, very slowly. And as I've said, it can be done like that. But the way I practice it now is out when I'm walking regularly, I've worked out per step or how many steps per breath. So with me, if I'm walking what I consider to be my normal walking pace when I go out for my morning and afternoon exercise by doing about an hour walk, I'll endeavour to synchronize a number of steps with a breath, and I find that for me that's around 3 to 4 steps. I'd say normally about 3. So 1, 2, 3, and over the course of that, breathe in, and then over the course of another 1, 2, 3, breathe out, and so on. Now the nice thing with working that out is, of course, you can not only regulate how fast you walk to try and make it match up. Maybe you do want to walk a bit slower, a bit faster, but you can also regulate the counting of the steps. And it is possible as well to break outside simply the practice of walking meditation into more breathing exercises in and of themselves, where you're even holding the breath for, say, 1 step. So breathing out for 3, holding the breath for 1 step, breathing out for 3, holding the breath again for 1 step. Now that then turns into more of a breathing exercise, strictly speaking, than a walking meditation. And I must admit, I tend to stick with the walking meditation aspect of just the in and out breaths in combination with several steps per breath. Another practice that I've used over the years is loving kindness meditations. And again, these can take different forms. They can take the form of a visualization of loving kindness, or they can take the form of reciting a particular sutta that is appropriate for loving kindness. And then finally is the use of a mantra. So some sort of sacred utterance, or a sound, or a syllable, or a word, or group of words. And that can be another form of meditation where you're focusing on the particular mantra. I don't think I've practiced this in a while. I've tended to move over to more silent mantras now where I do use them. But back when I was practicing with a meditation group, then we would invariably do a mantra at the end of a meditation session. The idea of actually, verbally doing your mantra is, particularly with certain words like Om, is to produce this reverberation as well, which sort of helps calm the body and mind. In some ways, I think it's very similar to when a cat purrs as well. So it's like a human form of purring, you could say. And of course the other interesting thing about a mantra is you can combine that with things like suttas as well on various things. So there's, like I said, interesting crossovers, but I'll include links to all the various Wikipedia articles that cover the 5 different types of techniques that I've spoken about. So you can, if you want to, think about how to create your own techniques around these basic structures, but also maybe come up with other variations outside of those structures. So thanks once again for watching. Bye for now, and I will catch you in the next video.